stand. Here we stand with a brainwashed Israeli society, with an indifferent international community.
Quiet, please.
And here we stand with a brainwashed, paralyzed Israeli society, with a totally indifferent international community, and with the continuance of the occupation, which is unacceptable by most of the world, by all of the world. And the question, how do we get out of it? As I said in my first sentences, don't expect the change to come from within the Israeli society. Life in Israel is too good, Israel is too strong, and brainwash is much too efficient to expect a change from within the Israeli society, with all the respect I have to those devoted groups who try to fight the occupation, who try to struggle for human rights, for equal rights, for values, for universal values, but they are very small in figures and very, very delegitimized in Israel, and therefore they will not make a change. Israeli media may be the biggest collaborator with the occupation, shares its role also in maintaining the status quo and continuing the occupation without bothering the Israelis too much about the moral consequences of it. And therefore, from a look from within Israel, the picture is rather pessimistic, desperated, without any kind of source of hope. We don't also see any alternative leadership which will really go for a different path. Will it be Labour or Likud? By the end of the day, the rhetoric will be different, but the outcome will be exactly the same. I must remind you here that Labour is the big founding father of the occupation project, not Likud. Peace Nobel Prize winner Shimon Peres is responsible to many more settlements than Benjamin Netanyahu. And don't expect that if Labour will one day take power, anything will change, except of the rhetorics, except of, again, a peace process with long-standing photo opportunities and promises and wonderful talkings about peace and equality, but it will not happen. So therefore, for people like me, the only source of hope is looking to the world and asking the world to do what he knew very well to do with another apartheid system not many years ago. Boycott, sanctions are a legitimate tool, non-violent tool. Israel is the first one to use it. What is the siege on Gaza if not boycott? What is the siege on Hamas if not boycott? What is the sanctions on Iran if not sanctions? So the tool is a very, very legitimate tool. It should be used when there is no other way. And I can tell you that at least in the past, it was a very efficient tool. Because those who really care about the future of Israel, not those right-wing demagogues, but those who really care about the future of Israel, who really care about its moral profile and not only about its strengths, its military strengths, those who understand that no country in the world remained powerful when it lives only on its sword. No one president in history of a country, of an empire, who remained forever living only on your sword, only on your military force. Those who care about the moral profile of Israel, their only hope is an international intervention. Their only hope is that the world will finally say its word in a very clear way, in a way that will make Israelis rethink about what they are doing, about what is being done on their behalf, will maybe bring them to think, is it worth it? Is it really worth it to continue this criminal project of the occupation and pay the price and be punished again and again? Do we really want to live in a country which is isolated more and more between Iran and North Korea? Do we really want to be mentioned like you heard here? What about Syria? What about Syria? Do we really want to be compared to Syria? Why not? Because the United States is financing Israel, because Israel wants to become or declares that it is part of the liberal Western world and gains a lot of privileges because of this. And therefore it puts also some kind of commitments on Israel, for example, to obey to the international law, something so outrageous like obeying to the international law once and for all, and not ignore the international community and think that because the Americans give us this carte blanche to do whatever we want and to go wild as much as we want, we should use this opportunity and go wild again and again in Gaza, in the West Bank, and in other places. So the hope is from the international community. Also, this hope is right now very, very unclear. The world is busy with other problems, unfortunately. The Islamophobia in Europe and in a way also in this country are also playing into Israel's hands. The fact that the Palestinians are so weak now doesn't play to their hands, because the world by the end of the day speaks power. But still, our eyes are toward the world, believing that in the 21st century, the last imperialistic country, the last colonialistic country, will not be able to continue with its colonialist project, tyrannizing another people in such a brutal way for so many years, and the world will let it happen. It's hard to believe that this can continue forever. And I must tell you, with all my pessimism and despair, when I see what happens to the Israeli society, especially in the last days and weeks, when it gets really, as I say, to low points that I would never believe that Israeli society will get so low, so violent, so racist, making a lynch in an Eritrean refugee. That's a refugee society. The whole society applauds to it and doesn't bring the people to justice, the people who did it, day after day.
Are the Palestinians coming to justice though, day after day? In the middle of the night?
There was no example in history of a people who lived under occupation and didn't resist. No example in history, and by the way, the international law enables a people under occupation to resist. So the only source, those brainwashed people that I feel rather pity toward them, forgot, for example, that the Jewish people, when we were fighting for our independence, Israeli or Jews were throwing bombs in markets, in hotels, killing innocent people, but then it was legitimate because it was made by Jews.
The hotel was the headquarters of the British mandate.
Aha! 69 civilians were killed there. Aha! Yes. So it's right to resist occupation. This is what I say. But we would like